60s television to me was surrealistic.
As a kid, I just collected and accumulated such a large collection that eventually I thought it might be a good idea to open a retail store, and this is what kind of happened now.
I'm 23 years old. I've been collecting anime, manga, and video games for at least 5 to 10 years now.
It's fun. Every day is a different day.
This is my entire collection of manga out on this pool table right now.
Stop! Wait, I don't want to fight you. I'm a friend.
That's like gold, baby, gold.
I'm Danielle McJimsey, and welcome to iHeart, the show that profiles those people who make culture pop, the collectors, the sellers, and the commentators. Hey, trading cards aren't just for sports fans. At this store, you can trade rock star, TV show, and movie cards. Interested in Japanese anime? Well, this aficionado has a colorful collection of comics and videos. But first, here's everything you ever wanted to know about 60s TV, but were afraid to ask.
'60s television to me was surrealistic. Whereas today you're watching realistic television, back in the '60s you were watching surrealistic television. It was pure escapist fare. For '60s memorabilia, at first you got to find it. Secondly, if you could find it unopened in the original box, never been played with, well, that's almost like a holy grail sort of thing. And that's like gold, baby, gold. The prime viewing time of my collecting beginnings would have been around 1965, 1966, so I would have been about 10 or 11 at the time. I remember one day it was at supper time and some kid comes knocking at the door. Now this kid, nobody have ever seen him. It was a kid we didn't know. And he says, I understand that somebody here needs Outer Limits card number 4. And that was me. So I go running to the door. Now this was the card that I needed to complete the set. So I had probably about 20 doubles. So I actually had kids coming to my house with stuff that I needed. The television shows that I collected on back then, and still do, would have been mostly The Man from U.N.C.L.E. The Munsters was another big show that I collected on. Gilligan's Island was another of my favorites, although there weren't very many collectibles on Gilligan's Island, so the stuff's hard to find. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. ran on NBC from 1964 to 1968. And it was cashing in on the spy craze, which was really hot then due to James Bond. It involved the exploits of super secret agent Napoleon Solo, played by Robert Vaughn, and his sidekick, Ilya Kuryakin, played by Dave McCallum. And they worked for U.N.C.L.E., which stood for United Network Command for Law and Enforcement. And each week they would go off on a new mission, and they would always be fighting the bad guys, who are known as Thrush. But unfortunately, it hasn't been rerun very much, so a lot of people don't really remember it. It was heavily merchandised back in the '60s. I think the problem is I don't think a lot of these toys made it up into Canada. I think it was mostly an American thing. And so when you see a Man from U.N.C.L.E. toy, and especially if it's still in the original packaging, it's like, oh, this is great, I must have this. There was a little blurb in Playboy magazine about this Man from U.N.C.L.E. fan club. And right around that time, it was 1983, they were going to have this thing called SpyCon, which was just a convention about all spy-related stuff. And when I went down to this thing, there was more memorabilia there than I could afford to buy. I wish I could go back years ago with more money now. I got the Napoleon Solo doll, still sealed in the box. I got the Ilya Kuryakin doll, still sealed in the box. And I got one of the Man from U.N.C.L.E. card games, and they also were still sealed in the box. The dolls, I paid $40 a piece for them, and I think on eBay now the going price is probably around the $300 to $400 range. Well, my favorite piece in the collection here has got to be the Napoleon Solo gun. I picked that Napoleon Solo gun up at a toy show in Chicago. The dealer was asking $550 for it. I was able to talk him down to $475. It's a nice, big, bulky, colorful piece, and it's still in the box, and I just love it. On eBay, that would probably run you about $1,000. Definitely my favorite character in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was Ilya Kuryakin. As a matter of fact, my license plates on my car say Ilya K. He had the kind of Beatle haircut, blonde hair. He wore a black turtleneck, and he was just so cool. I've met Robert Vaughn, who played Napoleon Solo on 3 occasions now. I haven't met Dave McCallum yet, who played Ilya Kuryakin, but that is a goal. I must meet him someday. I've met most of the cast from Land of the Giants TV series, most of the cast from Lost in Space TV series I've met. Quite a few people from Gilligan's Island I've met. I knew Tiny Tim, the singer. I was a fan of Tiny's back in the 60s when he first hit the scene. And then in the late 80s, 87, he was touring with a circus all across the States. And it played up in Tonawanda, so I went to the circus to see Tiny, got a chance to talk to him backstage for a good hour and a half. We exchanged phone numbers and addresses, and we stayed in touch till the day he died. Tiny was born on April 12th, so every year I would send Tiny a present. And it got to the point where he loved wearing ties, so I'd always send him a tie. Tiny also loved the Toronto Maple Leafs, so one year I sent him a Toronto Maple Leaf tie. Well, he loved that tie. When he passed away in '96, his widow sent all of Tiny's personal effects to this big Tiny Tim collector in Battle Creek, Michigan. And this guy's name is Ernie. So I got in touch with Ernie and I said, "You didn't happen to get a Toronto Maple Leaf tie in those effects?" And Ernie says to me, "Yes, I do have it. I'll tell you what, you can have it." So he sent it to me. So here's the tie that I gave Tiny as a gift. It's now in the collection. It's my escape. It's after, all the day-to-day life and everything, I can come down into this room, I can escape into the surreal world of television make-believe. Like somebody can go out and collect artwork, like a Picasso or a Van Gogh or something, and pay thousands of dollars and put it on the wall and display. Well, hey, I've got Addams Family cereal boxes, or a Man from U.N.C.L.E. gun. To me, that's art.
Coming up, IHEART trading cards.
I was walking around some comic book show one day, and I saw one dealer had all these unopened boxes of cards, and I really liked what I saw. It was just different from collecting sports cards. As a kid, I just collected and accumulated such a large collection that eventually I thought it might be a good idea to open a retail store, and this is what kind of happened now. And it's fun. Every day is a different day. I first started collecting Star Wars trading cards. I was walking around some comic book show one day, and I saw one dealer had all these unopened boxes of cards, and I really liked what I saw. It was just different from collecting sports cards. They had Star Wars cards, they had TV show, movie cards, full sealed unopened boxes, and I thought it was just a unique collectible. Not everybody had it. So even as far just as a kid, it was fun, but also as an investment, it looked a little more rare than sports collectibles. I opened them up, and you can make complete sets out of the box. And the unusual thing about opening boxes that I learned down the road was the wrappers are worth money, because the first thing that somebody throws out is the wrapper. They're looking at the cards, but some of the vintage wrappers, even from the 1960s, are worth a lot of money. I started just buying different boxes from TV show, movie collectibles, and I also started to look for boxes even from the 60s, just to put away. And there's a couple boxes that I've purchased over my collecting time. Is a box of 1964 Beatles cards, which is extremely rare. I purchased a box of Lost in Space cards. There was a find about 15 years ago of 4 Lost in Space boxes, and it's a very, very rare product. And I purchased one of those boxes. At the time, I believe I paid $800 for it. And a box like that now, in this day and age, is probably worth about $5,000. One of the boxes that's actually very rare that you don't see as often, and it's just the popularity is huge, is I have a full box of 1976 Star Trek cards from the original TV show. There's 36 sealed packs in it. All the boxes are mint and sealed. And again, even that empty display box is worth $100. I used to travel with my father when I was a kid. We would go into a place like Buffalo or a place like Rochester, and you'd walk into a candy wholesaler, and at one point I saw a stack of Planet of the Apes boxes from 1975, sealed mint boxes. And of course I bought them right away. At that time period, I believe I probably purchased them for $10 or $20 a box. A full sealed Planet of the Apes box right now at this time would probably be worth about $300 to $500. One find that I missed it by a day because I was a young kid at the time and I wasn't sure what I was looking at, was I walked into a candy wholesaler in mid-70s with my father. They were actually sealed cases of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea trading cards. And they were not that expensive at the time. And I'm thinking about it, and we went back the next day, and there was probably about 10 cases. To buy a case at that time was probably about $100, which was nothing. A box of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, not a case, a full box right now, right this minute, is easily worth about $5,000 to $6,000. My clientele changes every day, which is what I like about this hobby and about this business. I'll have young kids coming in that might want to buy a pack of vintage Star Wars cards, and that gets them into it as I did when I first started. And then they might start thinking about non-sports and TV show movie collectibles. And then I'll have business executives walk in and see it as a great investment to buy a box of 1977 Star Wars cards, or a box of Dukes of Hazzard. There's also James Bond collectors. I have an original box of James Bond cards from 1967, I believe it is. There's Charlie's Angels trading cards sell very well. It sounds like a funny thing, but there's a huge demand for that. This is an extremely rare sealed mint unopened box of non-sports trading cards. This actually was produced in 1964, and it's a full sealed box of 36 packs. And it's probably worth between $6,000 to $8,000 in the condition it's in. Of course, you don't want to chew the gum. If you actually broke this box apart, on average, from my experience of opening boxes, you'd probably make 3 complete sets. A full set of these cards is probably worth, in mint condition, $300 to $400. A Beatles collector would probably go nuts over this. They're just unaware that I have it. But again, it's not always about selling it, because it is unique for me as well. This is a full box of Return of the Jedi cards from 1983. There's 36 mint seal packs in it. And again, you open up this box, this is a little bit of a larger set. On average, I think you'd probably get 2 sets out of this. But it's great photos of this classic movie, Return of the Jedi, and it's definitely very collectible. There's a huge demand for Star Wars trading cards sealed in mint like this. Okay. This is a great set. This is very rare. This is from 1956. It's Elvis trading card complete mint set. You never see these sets. I've seen them sell as high as $1,000 to $1,500. I happen to retail it for $695. Again, it's easy to find single cards, but the value is in the complete set. It's also based on condition. These are actually Betty Page cards that came out in 1995, and they're actually really classic shots of her, done by her famous photographer, Bunny Yeager. And of course, you know the story of Betty Page, that she became a recluse, and I actually had a real autograph of her a long time ago. And of course, the movie is coming up now, which looks great. But I should have hung on to that autograph. These are all full unopened boxes, sealed in mint. They're actually from my own collection. They've never changed hands. This Dukes of Hazzard box is extremely rare. It's from 1980. It has 36 sealed mint packs. Got this actually when it first came out in 1980. I don't remember. I think I probably paid about $25 or $30 for it. I think everybody just remembers their childhood. I think that's what it's about collecting. It's just fun. It just brings you back to a simple time and just when you were a child and just certain things that you enjoy collecting.
Up next, iHeart Anime.
You get the really kiddie anime, and you also get very adult anime as well. So it kind of goes from the whole spectrum there. I'm 23 years old. Been collecting anime, manga, and video games for at least 5 to 10 years now. I work at a local comic book store in Etobicoke, and I also work at a video game store. Anime is Japanese animation. It's a stylized cartoon. Generally, cartoons over there, I guess you could say, range. You get the really kiddie anime, and you also get very adult anime as well. So it kind of goes from the whole spectrum there. One of the main things that everyone says when they see anime is little mouth, big eyes. It's the classic traditional standard where anime characters have these big, glossy, cute eyes and these little tiny mouths and nose. I know a lot of cartoons are now out in Canada are now coming out kind of mimicking that style. Started with VHS, and I did amass quite a bit. It's actually not all here because I can't fit it all in my room. Now I've actually been collecting DVDs, and it's a little slower because DVDs are a little more expensive. And I have kind of slowed down in the series that I've been picking up because I've been focusing more on the manga lately. Manga I actually started about 3 years ago. I was going through the previews because I helped do the orders for the comic book store I work for, and I had noticed these little, trade paperback books based on anime, and so they looked interesting. So I inquired if I could order them, and I did. Next thing you know, they came in. The girls in the store were absolutely loving them, so they were picking them up before I could actually get them, and so I started ordering doubles. And now today we actually have a very extensive manga collection. Manga is basically Japanese animation in written format. The manga comes first, anime comes second. Basically as you would look at a comic book, except it's generally read from right to left. So in traditional Japanese format, there are a few read in the traditional American way, but majority are in the Japanese format.
you. I'm a friend.
Each series has its own separate movies as well as there are a few standalone, like Ghibli Studios is a really big one. They did Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, some of the things we've actually seen in theaters.
Mom, Dad! Where are you? Mommy!
It's basically about a young girl who's moving to a new place with her family. They stop for a picnic at this, just like, grassy knoll. They kind of find this tunnel, they go through it, and that's where it kind of goes crazy, because as night falls, all these ghosts come out, and their parents, her parents actually eat all this food at this buffet, which was supposed to be for the ghosts, so they get turned into pigs. So to save her parents, she has to go work for the witch who did all that and try and find a way to release them. This is my entire collection of manga out on this pool table right now. I have them organized basically in what series have been already completed and what series are still continuing on. So I keep the finished series on the lower shelves while I keep the continuing series on the higher shelves that I have, just because it's easier to reach and check to see what I have, so make sure I'm not buying doubles. Some of the more popular series that we have right now would be, one of them is Rurouni Kenshin, basically takes place in Edo, Japan, and Tale of Samurai. Another is Wallflower, a little bit of an odder storyline, basically about a young girl who kind of is a closet horror fiend, and 4 beautiful guys are supposed to turn her into a lady, despite the fact that she kind of can't stand them. Hanakimi is a really popular one, also known as Hanazakari no Kimitachi. It's basically about a girl who dresses as a guy, goes to Japan to meet her idol, who's a high jumper. She goes to an all-boys school. Kamichama Karin is also another good series, just basically about young girls fighting evil kind of thing, almost like Sailor Moon-ish, kind of in a way, I guess you could say. Almost all my collection is in English except for these ones. And this is from the Tsubasa Chronicle ones, and these are in the original Japanese format. And this is the Japanese way, from right to left, and you start there. And basically you're working from the top corner here down to the bottom left. Basically this one looks like a 8-year-old girl. She turns into that. This is a fan service manga, definitely. Basically, it's one referred to as girls with really short skirts where no matter what you do, you can always see their underwear, or when their cleavage does stick out like that. I don't see myself not collecting for a very, very long time, so I'm really sure I'll have enough to fill up an entire room on its own soon enough. I do get my work discount, obviously, from the comic book store, but I think I have almost a few thou in collection here.
Got a collection we should know about? Tell us what it is and where you're from at iHeart@star-tv.com.
And there's myself and Robert Vaughn and my friend George.
Your hair's a little different.
I always change my hair. Being a rock star, you got to keep changing the hair all the time. Wanted to go pink. My wife wouldn't let me.